Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Simi Bukal, Director of Communications and Programs at Resolve, the National Infertility Association. With national attention on IVF and reproductive care intensifying, we know that many in our community are feeling a deep sense of anxiety, frustration, and uncertainty. Whether you're in the middle of a treatment, exploring options, or supporting a loved one, we want you to know that you are not alone. This session is designed to provide you with emotional tools to help you navigate these challenging times, protect your well-being, and ground yourself when things feel unsteady. I'm thankful to be joined by Dr. Andrea Braverman, Resolve board member, and as a leading health psychologist, and she specializes in infertility counseling, third-party reproduction, and emotional aspects of medical health management. Dr. Braverman has published widely, lectured internationally, and received numerous awards for her advocacy and contributions to the field, including the Distinguished Service Award from the American Society for Reproductive Medicine. Dr. Braverman, thank you so much for being here.
It is my honor and my pleasure to be here with everybody today.
All right, so I'm going to jump right in. To start off, Dr. Braverman, many in our community are navigating overwhelming, uncertainty right now. You've spent your career specializing in medical health management and fertility counseling and third-party reproductive issues, as I introduced you. Um, can you share a little bit what initially led you to this work and why you feel this moment, it feels especially urgent when it comes to providing emotional support?
Yes, thank you for that opportunity. I got into the field like many of us have gotten into the field with my own infertility journey with my late husband, and I was in graduate school. This came up. I ran to the library, which one did back then because we didn't have computers and the internet to do stuff with, and went to the card catalog, believe it or not, and of course found Zippo, and that started my passion for this field, and it has never left. I think right now the biggest concern for me is watching over the arc of 40 years of in the being in the field is feeling even more threatened now, instead of all the opportunities that have opened up for family building over the years, of feeling that there is really bigger forces at play that may limit the choices for families, for family building, and that between that and, as we all know, the cost, the emotional, the physical, the actual dollar cost of all of this, it just feels like there are many wolves at the door that are braying with all of these concerns.
Um, in these moments when many are feeling anxious and overwhelmed, can you think of just two practical things, tools that someone can turn to in the moment to feel more present and emotionally steady with all these contributing factors and the urgency of our society and current events?
Now, my favorite tool is sort of like the stop for a minute and tune into your own thoughts, in a sense. What are you telling yourself? If are we Is that sense of urgency coming from a source inside of you? Oh my God, everything's shutting down, or oh my goodness, everything's at risk. And it is that voice of anxiety, fear. I mean, I've worked with plenty of people who love to name them. I occasionally call it, no offense if your name is Bertha, but it was my paternal grandmother's name, and for some reason I never cozied up to it. So I always use call it my Bertha voice. Is it my Bertha voice saying all these negative things? Or, is there something really going on? In which case, what resources am I seeking out to help manage it? Okay, that's a pretty big, broad-based one. So let's go for something, the low-lying fruit. And I will give to you what I teach to my OBGYN residents. It is just a simple technique of, in that moment, as you feel everything tightening up and we all start closing up and getting more stressed, I always say, where do your shoulders go, right? we're like this. When we're cold, we go like this. And I always say, take a moment and call very cutely BS on yourself. Breath and shoulders. First of all, take your shoulders, put them down, put them back, open up your chest, take a deep breath. Fill your chest, feel that. For most people, that's a pretty pleasant feeling of just filling your lungs, opening your chest, and then letting it out slowly and without you can do it to a count, you can do it to a just to what is feels comfortable for you. I mean, there are plenty of breathing exercises, but that doesn't have to be one. It's just quick and dirty, breath and shoulders. And I hear my late mother also saying, "Put your shoulders back, Andrea." So I listened to her.
I can really relate to that tension in the shoulders. I know sometimes I even am like, okay, I feel like I need to relax. So that's definitely a practical tip I think a lot can relate to. So a lot of people in our community, they're feeling powerless, especially as they watch policy decisions unfold that directly impact their ability to build a family. What are some ways, even small ones, that people can begin to reclaim a sense of control with this just what seems like a relentlessness of news and breaking events happening?
Yeah, no, I think, look, I was laughing at myself because right before I hopped on this Zoom, my Apple Watch went bing and I jumped, right? Because it's like, oh, what's the breaking news? What terrible thing am I going to read? And it's like every once in a while, I don't wear my Apple Watch. I just wear my good old-fashioned analog watch. So I'm not constantly being pinged by things. But when we have that sense of powerlessness, we also sort of rub elbows with the idea of helplessness. And then we there's nothing we can do. And the first thing is to stop and say, okay, small things. What can I do? I will applaud everybody who's on today, and we've got this sense of community, and we're all sharing this, and that's a positive thing. Does it change national policy? No. But most of us are not going to change national policy. We are going to support people that are more empowered to do it. Look, that's one of the big reasons I am such a fangirl of Resolve. I'm not the one that has those skills. I'm pretty good, in the counseling chair. You see my office behind me and the chairs, and I can help people that way. But you send me down to Capitol Hill, and I'm lost and at sea. So we look to saying, wait, do I have to do it all? What am I saying to myself? I've got to fix this. Well, that's not the way things work. What are the stepwise ways that we get to feeling more powerful? We join with others, we talk things out, we check out, we do our own research to find things. And is the powerlessness about saying there are identifying the forces, these big forces above me that control my life, or is it this is part of the infertility journey of just that feeling of being out of control. We all know that's one of the big catchphrases we all find ourselves using, which is, am I just feeling out of control? And is that for real? Like, what are the next small steps? Where do I put my foot next instead of where do I put my foot forward next week? Let's get back to being micro instead of macro.
And just to add a little plug in there, I feel like Resolve has some outlets to have gain a little sense of control. We have a federal advocacy day we host annually every year, and it's a way for you to meet with your members of Congress and others in your community to just have this shared experience with people who you're advocating alongside and being able to share your story, and you could potentially change some hearts and minds on the Hill. So um, think about getting more involved with Resolve as well. Um,
And if I may also put in a plug for the support groups, if you're feeling isolated, don't be. Sometimes, look, I love Facebook groups. I love a lot of things, but sometimes we need to see other people and hear other people. And there is a power in hearing your own feelings coming out of somebody else's mouth.
100%, I agree. Um, so with the constant stream of news, it can be emotionally exhausting, but sometimes we need to be informed. We want to be informed. And it's hard to do that, and not then become emotionally overwhelmed. So do you have any advice on how to stay informed without becoming emotionally overwhelmed with constantly being on?
I think first of all, accept that there are times when we do become emotionally overwhelmed, but we use that as a tool. It's a barometer within ourselves. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's telling me time to step back. The same way if I'm eating, if I'm eating and I feel that sense of satiety, I'm feeling full, it's time for me to put down my fork. I don't always do this, but it's telling me I should do that. So the same thing when we are consuming all of this information coming in. First of all, we have to identify who are our sources that we trust. So don't be reading everything. It's like, some people are telling me I've got to read all sides of this, and then I've got to go back and then read even more sides of this. And it is, unless this is what you do for a living, it's going to be a hard thing to do along with the rest of your life. So, who are the trusted sources? Resolve, obviously, I'm going to say, is one of them that is going, and Resolve will bring you information and breaking news and keep you informed. But beyond that, we all find our own sources of trusted news analysis, including the trusted people around us. I have a lot of friends who are way smarter than I am. I tap into them. I know who I go to. A lot of my lawyer friends, it's like, be lawyer friends. Tell me what I'm supposed to know from a legal angle on this. I have all my trusted, wonderful colleagues out there in the mental health community that it's like, what are you saying that I'm not seeing? Or if I am feeling that sense of overwhelm, help keep me in check. The second and the last thing that I also will do is I limit myself. I think for so many people I tell right now, stop watching the news at a certain amount of time. We know to do this with caffeine. Most of us would not, if we're affected by caffeine, are not going to have a double espresso before trying to go to sleep, right? So why are you on your phone looking at these news sources that you've found that are trusted that are going to stimulate you? Or or being on the internet and going down the rabbit hole on Reddit or wherever you're going down that rabbit hole, which both you're doing because it helps and you're informed and you're connected with others, but it has the downside. So everything's good, but as we've always said, everything in moderation, right? And what that means for you, only you know. If you're a morning person, I would suggest you doing this more in the morning than at night. If you're a night person, that's great, but where's your cutoff?
I definitely am guilty of needing to take a little break. It becomes a little addictive sometimes, I think.
There's also a little bit of FOMO, isn't there? Like if I don't have it, if I don't know, I'm going to miss out on something big. And I would argue, if you take a day off from the news, which is, I think, kind of healthy once in a while, it's like, do you really think if something big happens, you're not going to hear about it the old-fashioned way, that everybody's going to be, talking about it? Or if you really must, it's like when I go on vacation, I don't stay unplugged. I think it's a great idea. I don't and I can't for a lot of different reasons, but I limit it. I do it in the morning, so I have the rest of the day free as opposed to doing it in the evening because then I'm plugged into that also while I'm trying to then go to sleep a little bit later. Doesn't work for me.
I think, yeah, and sometimes you have to recognize that for other people and let them know, hey, maybe you should take a little bit of a break from the news. I feel like maybe you're on edge or too overly concerned with this topic. I'm sure there's better ways to say it. But getting into the topic of other people and them supporting people who may be on this journey or just supporting someone who's on this journey. Many people are supporting a partner or a friend through treatment or loss. What's your best guidance for being present and compassionate without crossing emotional boundaries and or just taking on too much of it themselves?
Yeah, no, it is the ever-present question, right? What's showing up, what's too much for ourselves, what's fair, what's not fair when supporting others. And I think it is, first of all, know that you do not things are going to resonate with you if you're going through your own fertility journey and somebody is having a loss or had a cycle that didn't work for them, that it does take a toll on you. And that is something where, again, you have to be smart about how you can show up. And sometimes showing up is just sending uh, in a pizza saying, I want to cover dinner tonight or whatever it might be. But I think showing up for people is a way of feeling like it is the village. You know, we all support each other, and it's that connection that is deeply meaningful. The be be challenging to yourself about saying, what do am I trying to fix or am I trying to support? They're two different things. I love to fix, don't get me wrong. Always been an Achilles heel as a therapist for me. I just want to fix everything for everybody, but you can't. Some things just hurt, some things hurt deeply. And the thing we can do is just be present. Number one is, am I listening more than I'm talking? Yeah, am I listening to what is meaningful to you? The is it if I'm talking to somebody who finds their most sense of good coping and control is by being as informed as possible because they have figured out that balance, but don't tell them to disengage. You got to listen to them. And I think the other is then saying when you have to encourage them to widen their network. If you're feeling so overwhelmed by being that only person to them, and then helping them to think, do you think it would be helpful to talk to, your cousin who you told me was so helpful to you before? Or what about your friend at work that you were mentioning? And let's talk about pros and cons of involving them. So, or hey, have you thought about a Resolve support group? Um, or if that Reddit subgroup is really getting you down, let's talk about maybe taking a little vacation from it.
I really appreciated your advice of having them expand their support network and including Resolve support groups because I think as someone who is supporting someone else, you can kind of take on that secondhand grief and um, just giving them an idea to go to a support group and share with people who have, these shared lived experiences, can be really, it can maybe be more impactful to them to hear from people who can understand and also gives that person a little bit of a break, as well, because that can be a lot to always be that person that person's turning to. So I appreciate that. Um, and then and sometimes it's not just what you do, but it's what you should avoid. So what are some common missteps or things we may say or do with good intentions that could actually add more distress?
Oh, my favorite, which is you've got to do more self-care. I mean, the people that sounds like great advice, and it's really coming from a caring, loving place. But for many people on the receiving end, it feels like one more burden on them. Like, oh, I'm not doing self-care right either. Or it's like your idea of what does that even mean? It is one of my bugaboos because self-care is like saying ice cream. I have no idea what flavor we're talking about. I love many flavors of ice cream. There are many that I will say pass on. Um, and I know all you chocolate lovers are going to be horrified when I say I'm going to pass on the chocolate and take the vanilla. But that's just how individual we all are, right? So it is, with the what are some of the things to avoid? I mean, look, we all know the basic ones. What's the number one thing that makes you somewhat homicidal? Just relax, right? Which I swear should be justifiable in many states, but that's not the way it works, right? We're allowed to feel whatever we feel. It's what we do with the feelings that's so important. So just like if you're somebody who is like, I'm so at sea, please tell me and help me what to do. I'm going to listen to that and I'm going to provide more guidance. If you're saying, look, just listen to me. I just want to share the feelings. I have to keep it together every place else, but with you, I just want to talk, don't fix. And I see couples where this is often one of the points of a pain point, if you will, between them. It's like, I don't want you to fix, I just want you to listen. Same thing with our friends. The more we care about somebody, the harder it is to just listen to them be sad, mad, hurt, grieving, whatever it might be. So it's like, what can I do for myself at this point? I remind myself this will not be forever. If they feel like it's forever, I'm going to be able to listen because I know there's going to be another day, another week, another year that where it won't be like this.
Thank you. So as we get ready to wrap up, I just want to let participants know on the call, if you have a question for Dr. Braverman, please use the Q&A chat option to submit your questions. But as people do that, I thought I'd ask our final question. Um, Dr. Braverman, what message of encouragement or hope would you like to leave our community today?
Guess what I would want to say to everybody is believe in yourself. You've got strength, you've got capacity to cope. We're stronger sometimes than we feel we are, and we rise to the occasion. You've made it this far, and that's the good indication you're going to make it farther. But it's not, you don't get extra credit points. We don't give you cold stars in your chart if you reach out for help. And that help may just be by reading an article, it may be connecting with another person, it may be the self-care of listening to music instead of listening to the news, of getting a massage, of getting your nails done. I'm not a nails person, but for so many people, that's a great thing that they do. Reading a book for pleasure and just turning off, or it may be finding your strength through action and saying, I'm going to do something. I feel better when I'm accomplishing. So I'm going to do, well, Advocacy Day just passed, but I'm gearing up. I'm already like almost 365 days ahead of the game to do it next year. But find there, this is not a one size fits all. Find what fits you best and what's most comfortable, and push yourself to do it, but also give yourself the grace to understand we can't all be strong every day, and to give yourself breaks too.
Thank you so much, Dr. Braverman. So we had one question, someone asking if we would do this again in the future. We definitely will do similar things like this in the future. And if you want to stay in contact with us, you can email me specifically and our support group manager through supportgroups@resolve.org if you have any follow-up questions. And also, we just had a general comment from someone just thanking you for your guidance today. So if anyone else again has any additional questions that you want to ask Dr. Braverman, if you send it to supportgroups@resolve.org or info@resolve.org, we'll get your email either way, and we can touch base with Dr. Braverman and she can help us respond to any additional questions you have. Um, so thank you again, Dr. Braverman, for sharing some actionable guidance today. To everyone who joined us, thank you for showing up for yourselves and for this community. Recording of this session will be sent out, and we encourage you to revisit it and share it with others who may need it. And as always, Resolve is here for you. Please visit our website at www.resolve.org to connect with a support group, access free mental health resources, or learn more about how we're advocating for access to care across the country. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great evening.